Did you know that your brain can actually change its structure and function through something called neuroplasticity? This idea shows that with a bit of effort, you can literally rewire your brain, and I decided to see if it was true by making one small change in my life. I began by choosing one habit to alter, and that habit was my morning routine. In my usual life, I would wake up at my regular time and hurry through my day without giving much thought to starting it well. I read that by waking up just 30 minutes earlier each day and spending that extra time doing something calming, like meditating and writing my thoughts in a journal, I could help clear my mind and change the way I felt all day. It sounded simple, but I knew that small changes often lead to big rewards. I started my challenge with a lot of hope and a little bit of doubt, wondering if I could truly change a part of myself in just 30 days. At first, my new routine felt strange. Waking up earlier was hard work because my body was used to a regular schedule, and I often felt sleepy and tired. There were days when I did not manage to get out of bed because I was too comfortable in my warm, cozy cover. When I did manage to rise, my mind was still foggy and I struggled to focus on my breathing during meditation. Sometimes, I would lie there and let my thoughts wander, and I began to think that maybe this new habit would never work for me. Still, I had read that it is normal to face difficulties when trying something new, and I reminded myself that every new challenge comes with its own hurdles. I continued to push myself even on the days when I hit the snooze button or felt like I was failing. I kept repeating the reasons why I started: to feel more clear-headed, to enjoy more calm in my day, and to help my brain learn to be more flexible. Every morning, I forced myself to sit on the floor with my back straight and let my mind relax. I kept a small notebook beside me and tried to jot down any words or feelings that came to mind, even if they were simple or unimportant at first. At the start, my journal was mostly filled with brief notes or lists that did not capture the full depth of what I was feeling, but as I continued, my writing began to flow more naturally. I learned that it was not necessary to have long, detailed entries. Even simple words could help remind me of the progress that was happening inside me. As the days went by, my challenge became a journey of self-discovery. I noticed that sometimes my mind would wander, but when I gently guided it back to my breathing, I began to feel a sense of control and calm. It was as if my thoughts, which used to be wild and unorganized, were slowly settling into a quiet stream. This daily practice allowed me to see that my mind could be trained just like a muscle, something that needed regular exercise in order to grow stronger and healthier. Each morning, when I sat down for meditation, I started to feel like I was giving my brain a chance to rest and reset before the noise of the day took over. I remember one morning in particular when I was waking up early after a restless night, and I was worried I would not be able to concentrate. As soon as I opened my eyes and took that first deep breath, I began to sense a little spark inside me, a gentle reminder that I was capable of this change. That spark grew stronger as I sat there, slowly clearing my thoughts, and it made me realize that every moment of focus was adding up to something important. As I kept journaling, I began writing more about how I felt each morning, and I observed that on days when I fully followed my routine, I felt more peaceful and ready to face the day's challenges. I started to notice little changes that I had never seen before. For example, I was more patient when dealing with small annoyances during the day, such as when I encountered slow traffic or minor setbacks at work. I realized that my inner calm was like a protective bubble that helped me see the world more clearly. I became interested in learning more about neuroplasticity because I wanted to understand how these small changes could lead to bigger changes in the brain. I discovered that our brains are made up of billions of cells that can form new connections when we learn new skills or form new habits. The idea that the brain is not fixed but can bend and change with practice was both exciting and a little bit scary. It meant that if I did not treat my mind well, I could also develop bad habits. This thought made me even more determined to stick with my morning routine, knowing that every positive thought and every deep breath was like a building block for a better, more resilient brain. As days turned into weeks, I began to see the transformation inside me. I was about a week into my challenge when I first started to notice that my thoughts were becoming less chaotic. I could sit in silence a little longer without feeling the need to check my phone or rush off to begin a busy day. I realized that the extra time I was spending in those quiet moments was more than just a pause. It was a chance to see my life from a new angle. With every journal entry, I was able to look back and see the changes that were happening slowly but surely. Some mornings, my words flowed easily, and I felt a powerful sense of release as I put my thoughts on paper. Other mornings, I struggled, and my pages remained nearly blank, but I learned to accept that not every day would be perfect. I learned that the process of rewiring my brain required patience. I began to understand that real change does not always come from success on the first try, but rather from the willingness to keep trying even when things did not seem to go right. Every obstacle, every time I was tired or felt like giving up, became an opportunity to practice self-discipline and to remind myself that I was in control of my thoughts and my habits. I started to look at failures as small steps toward success, much like learning a new skill or a new dance. The more I practiced, the more natural the whole process became. I began to see that each time I chose to sit quietly and focus on my breath, I was teaching my brain that calm was important. I felt as if I were giving my brain a break from the constant demands of daily life, and that break allowed my mind to heal and rebuild itself in a positive way. As I moved closer to the 20th day of my challenge, I could feel a clear change in my mood and behavior. I felt more patient when I was stuck in difficult situations, and my ability to handle stress became much stronger. The simple act of meditating and writing in my journal each morning was helping me feel more connected to the present moment. I started noticing that I no longer felt overwhelmed by the chaos around me. Instead, I felt like I was in control of my feelings. I was no longer just a passenger in my own life but an active participant in shaping my experience of each day. I began to see the beauty in small, everyday moments, a warm cup of tea, a kind smile from a stranger, or the peaceful silence before the hustle of work began. These moments, once unnoticed, now took on great meaning as I realized that each one played a part in changing the way I felt inside. My life felt lighter and happier, even if the change was subtle. What surprised me the most was that these new feelings of calm and clarity were not forced. They grew naturally as I repeated my new habit every day. I started to understand that when I made space in my morning for quiet reflection, it had a ripple effect on everything else I did. I began to listen more closely to others, to enjoy the taste of my food, and to be thankful for even the smallest pleasures in life. The more I did this, the more I felt like I was slowly redesigning my mind. I thought about all the times when I had felt anxious or rushed, and I realized that those feelings were starting to fade away. In their place grew a sense of control and clarity that I had never experienced before. I began to appreciate the value of spending time with myself, time that allowed me to think, to plan, and to grow. It was as if I had given myself permission to slow down, to breathe, and to learn how to listen to my inner self. As the 30 days came closer to an end, my commitment to this routine had become a deep part of who I was. I found that what had started as an experiment was now a peaceful ritual that set the tone for every single day. I was happy to wake up early, knowing that I had already taken a step toward building a better version of myself. In those final days, I felt a strong sense of pride in my ability to change something as personal as my morning routine. I was proud because I had faced my fears and doubts, and I had learned that even the smallest effort can lead to big changes in the brain. I thought back to the first day when I was full of excitement mixed with a little fear of the unknown. I recalled how hard it was to force myself out of a warm bed and how overwhelming it felt to try to focus my mind immediately after waking up. Now, 30 days later, I understood that those early struggles were part of the journey. Every time I had thought of giving up, I had instead taken another deep breath and tried again, and that persistence was the real secret behind my transformation. I learned that it was okay to fail sometimes, as long as I did not let those failures stop me. I accepted that good habits are built one step at a time, and every step matters. I realized that each morning was a new opportunity to exercise my brain's ability to change. Every deep breath and every written word became a stitch in the fabric of a newly formed self. The joy of slowly seeing my thoughts clear up and my feelings settle into a calm rhythm was something I could never have imagined before I started. I began to understand that happiness and clarity do not come from big, dramatic actions but from small, steady changes that build up over time. Even on days when I felt like my progress was too slow or when I made mistakes, I learned that the brain's power was in its ability to grow through repetition and time. I could feel that my brain was slowly learning to be better, and that experience became a shining example of the power of perseverance. This journey taught me that even though I often took my thoughts for granted, I now realized that each thought was important and had the power to shape my day. I began to see my mind as a garden that needed regular care, where each day I could plant seeds of calm and nurture them with understanding and patience. With this new way of thinking, I started to manage my emotions better, finding peace in moments that once felt full of worry and stress. The simple change of waking up earlier to spend a few peaceful moments proved to be a powerful practice, one that allowed me to see life in a gentler and more caring light. I felt as if I had discovered a secret that had been hidden in plain sight all along. My newfound ability to control my mind overpowered the stress and fears that used to cloud my vision. I saw that every challenge I faced during those first weeks was like a small weight that, once lifted, allowed me to move forward more freely. I took time each morning to think about the lessons learned from those challenges. When I found my mind wandering away from my meditation, it was as if it was trying to tell me something about my stress or my worries. Instead of getting upset, I learned to welcome those stray thoughts as small messages from my inner self, nudging me to focus again on the present moment. I discovered that the art of mindfulness was not about being perfect but about being aware. This gentle awareness helped me to relax and allowed me to see that mistakes were nothing to be ashamed of but simply part of the learning process. I began to realize that when I chose to sit with my discomfort or my doubts, I was growing stronger in ways that I had never expected. Every difficult morning, every moment of frustration, and every time I could not find the right words to write in my journal were small lessons that added up to make me a better person. Even after the challenge was over, I knew that I had discovered a powerful truth about life and the human brain. I learned that the mind is not a static machine but a dynamic part of who we are, always ready to change if we show it patience and care. I felt that I had created a space in my life where I could return to find calm and strength whenever I needed it. This simple habit of meditating and journaling was no longer just an experiment. It had become a part of my everyday life, a soft and constant companion that helped me face the world with newfound energy and hope. I began to share my experience with others, telling them that if I could change a single small habit and see such clear benefits, then anyone could do the same. I explained that there was no magic trick or secret formula. It was all about taking one small step at a time, being patient, and understanding that even when progress seems slow, every little effort counts. I told my friends and family that by choosing to use a few extra minutes each day for calm and self-reflection, they too could unlock the power of their own minds. I shared that the journey was not always easy and that there were moments of doubt and setbacks, but the rewards were more than worth the effort. I said that the constant reminder to breathe deeply, to embrace the quiet, and to write down even the simplest of thoughts was like giving my brain a gift that kept on giving. With every day that passed, I began to look at life in a softer light, a life where each moment was a new chance to grow, learn, and find peace. I felt that I had tapped into a natural ability that resided inside everyone, waiting to be awakened through small and thoughtful changes in the way we live. By the end of the 30 days, I could see that my whole life had shifted. My actions, thoughts, and even the way I reacted to events were calmer and more thoughtful. I was no longer at the mercy of sudden, overwhelming feelings. Instead, I had built a solid foundation of inner peace that allowed me to face each day with a quiet confidence. I realized that rewiring my brain was a gift I had given to myself, a gentle reminder that change, even when it comes in tiny doses, can be very powerful indeed. I felt proud of the persistence and determination I had shown. I also felt grateful for every small moment of struggle that turned into a lesson on how to live life in a more balanced and mindful way. I came to see that the practice of meditation and journaling helped me not only to change my morning but to change the way I experienced my entire day, making every hour a little more peaceful and every moment full of potential for growth. In the end, my journey of rewarming my brain through a simple habit taught me many things that I never expected to learn. That every day can be a chance to start over, that a few moments of quiet reflection can change the course of a day, and that every small effort truly matters. I learned that by focusing on simple actions like taking a deep breath, sitting in silence, or putting my thoughts down on a page, I could create a lasting change that reached deep into the workings of my mind. I felt a deep sense of accomplishment in knowing that I was no longer controlled by my daily stress or the chaos of the modern world, but that I had taken an active part in shaping my reality. I discovered that the brain has an amazing ability to rewire itself, and that even minor changes in our habits can lead to major improvements in our overall well-being. I looked forward to the future with excitement and hope, knowing that if I could change one aspect of my morning routine, I could change many other parts of my life as well. The experience taught me that the path to a happier, more balanced life does not lie in grand, dramatic actions but in small, intentional steps that build up over time. I invite anyone who has ever wanted to change a habit, no matter how simple it may seem, to give it a try, because it is possible to retrain the mind with persistence and love. Every deep breath, every word written, and every morning that begins with a moment of peace is a testament to the strength and flexibility of our minds. I believe that if more people understood that their brains can change, they might find it easier to let go of old ways that no longer serve them, and to embrace new habits that bring more joy and calm into their lives. It is not an easy journey, and there will be moments when the change seems too hard to maintain, but each small victory is proof that we are capable of more than we ever imagined. In this journey of reprogramming my brain, I learned that life is full of little miracles waiting to be noticed if we take the time to care for our minds and spirits. I discovered that inner peace is not something that arrives all at once, but rather a slow and steady process of learning, practice, and acceptance. Even on the most challenging days, I found that the habit I had created was always there as a safe place to return to, a quiet corner of my day that reminded me of who I truly am and what I am capable of. Now, as I continue to carry that habit with me, I feel more empowered and better prepared to face the future. Every new day is an opportunity to learn from yesterday and to build a brighter, more serene life. I know that my brain will continue to grow and change as long as I am willing to put in the effort, and I hope that by sharing my story, others will find the courage and inspiration to start their own journey. It is amazing to think that a simple decision to wake up 30 minutes earlier and take a moment for myself has led to so many positive changes. I learned that the quiet moments of self-reflection are worth more than the rush of everyday tasks, and that when we make time for our inner selves, we open the door to a whole new way of experiencing life. I now truly believe that anyone can rewire their brain by choosing small, positive actions over and over again. In the end, the journey of transforming my life through meditation and journaling was not just about changing a habit, it was about changing the way I saw myself and the world. I discovered that my ability to choose calm, to choose reflection, and to choose growth was always within my reach. Even in moments of self-doubt, I remembered that every small step was a building block for a better future. Today, I live with a quiet confidence, a belief that I can continue to learn and evolve no matter what life brings my way. I cherish every morning that I wake up early, knowing that each sunrise is a gift filled with endless opportunities to grow, to improve, and to live a life filled with inner peace. I hope that my experience shows that even the simplest actions can have a great and lasting impact on our lives, and I encourage everyone to take a moment to care for their minds, to listen deeply to their inner thoughts, and to allow themselves the chance to change for the better. The future is full of promise when we choose to cultivate habits that bring us joy, clarity, and a deep sense of balance, and I am grateful for every step that has led me to a better, more mindful life. If you've tried to change a habit or form a new one, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments below. What worked for you, and what didn't? What challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them? I'm curious to know, and I'm excited to hear your story. If you're looking for more content related to personal development, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll be sharing more tips, more strategies, and more inspiration to help you on your journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to discuss, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm always here to help, and I'm always excited to connect with you. Don't forget to like and share this video with someone who might benefit from it. Let's grow, learn, and evolve together.